This prayer didn't reach you by chance. Your presence here is not a coincidence. Every step that brought you to this moment was carefully guided, because there is something in your life that needs to be reached, restored, and transformed now. There is hidden suffering, an urgent plea, a silent burden you have been carrying in your heart, and God knows every detail of it. He saw tears that no one else noticed, heard requests made in the deepest silence, and recognized the weariness of your soul when your strength seemed to be exhausted. Perhaps you've reached this point at the limit of your waiting, with your faith shaken and hope almost extinguished. Perhaps you've already done everything within your power, and yet the answer hasn't come. Time passed, the doors remained closed, and your heart began to wonder if God was still listening. And it is precisely at this point, when everything seems hopeless, that God manifests His power even more intensely. Today, He has led you here to remind you of something essential. Heaven is not silent. God continues to work even when your eyes cannot see. He continues to open hidden paths, align people, transform scenarios, and prepare miracles that will happen at the right time, and that time may be now. Therefore, do not treat this moment as something ordinary. It is not just another video, nor just another prayer. It is a prepared encounter between you, God, and the powerful intercession of Saint Charles Acutis. Saint Carlo Acutis lived a simple yet profound faith, believing that God reveals Himself most powerfully, precisely, when all seems lost. Today, he intercedes for those who cry out for urgent miracles, for difficult causes, and for situations that have surpassed any human solution. If you are here, it is because something needs to change. Something needs to be unlocked. Something needs to be healed in your life, in your family, in your history, and in your heart. Before we continue, I sincerely ask something of you. If you feel this prayer speaks directly to you, if you believe God brought you here for a purpose, and if you carry an urgent request in your heart, please subscribe to this channel now. It's not just a click, it's an act of faith. It's a decision to remain in prayer, to choose to trust and not give up. Also, activate the notification bell, because every day there is a new prayer here, prepared with zeal, faith, and purpose to strengthen your soul, renew your hope, and remind you that you are not walking alone. By subscribing, you join a living chain of faith, where many people pray together, believe together, and witness real miracles. This channel may be the instrument God has chosen to sustain you during this difficult time. Now take a deep breath. If you can, place your hand over your heart, calm your mind, silence your thoughts, and allow your soul to open. It doesn't matter how you got here, tired, confused, hurt, or disillusioned. God welcomes you exactly as you are. You don't need beautiful words or perfect prayers. All God desires is a sincere heart. During this prayer, allow yourself to believe, even if it seems difficult. Faith is not the absence of fear, but the choice to trust despite it. Surrender to Saint Carlo Acutis what hurts you most, what worries you most, what you have tried to resolve in every way and failed. Nothing is too small, and nothing is too big for God. This is not a prayer for later. It's not a prayer for when you have spare time. It's a prayer for now, for this very moment in your life. Urgent miracles cannot wait, and God knows the urgency of your heart. If you feel you need an answer in the next few hours, the next few days, or the next 24 hours, stay with me until the end. Pray with faith, with surrender, with an open heart. Saint Charles Acutis walks beside us at this moment, carrying each word of this prayer before God. Something has already begun to move in the spiritual world. You didn't arrive here by chance. This prayer didn't reach you without purpose. Now let's pray. Saint Carlo Acutis, today I stand before God with an open heart and a weary soul, but still sustained by hope. I approach you because I know you understand human struggles, silent pains, and those moments when faith is all we have left. Look now at my life and see what most urgently needs a miracle, what steals my sleep, what makes me cry silently, and what I no longer know how to resolve. I present to you, Saint Carlo Acutis, each impossible situation I face at this moment. You know where it hurts, where the doors remain closed, and where the answer seems not to arrive. Intercede for me with God so that what is blocked may begin to move, so that what is confused may be clarified, and so that what seems lost may be restored according to God's will. At this moment, I place in your hands my deepest worries, my most hidden fears, and my most human frailties. Take all of this to the altar of the Lord and present every detail of my life with love, trust, and faith, asking that God's mercy reach me where my strength can no longer go. I ask you, Saint Charles Acutis, to intercede for this urgent cause I carry in my heart, for this need that can no longer wait, for this answer I urgently require. If it is God's will, may the miracle manifest itself. May the door open, may the path be revealed, and may peace return to dwell within me even before the answer becomes visible. Lord God, I believe that you are present now, hearing every word of this prayer, seeing every tear shed, and knowing every detail of my story. I trust that nothing escapes your eyes, and that even when silence seems to prevail, you continue to act perfectly and lovingly in favor of those who trust in you. Therefore, in this moment of total surrender, I choose to trust, even without understanding. I choose to believe, even with fear. I choose to remain in prayer, even with a weary heart. I place before you every area of my life that needs divine intervention. Wounded relationships, financial difficulties, closed doors, anxieties weighing on my soul, decisions I need to make, uncertain paths, prolonged waits, pains that have not yet healed, dreams that seem distant, and situations that, humanly speaking, have no solution. I know that nothing is impossible for you, and that your power can manifest itself now, at this exact moment in my life, in a profound, transformative, and unexpected way, according to your eternal designs and your infinite mercy. I ask you, Lord, that through the intercession of Saint Carlo Acutis, you now visit the most wounded places in my life, those that I hide even from myself, those that I carry in silence out of fear, shame, or weariness. Go into where pain has settled, where hope has begun to weaken, where faith has been suffocated by disappointments and prolonged waiting, and pour your light so that all that is dark may have meaning again. Saint Charles Acutis, friend of God, who knew how to trust even in your youth, help me to trust when everything within me wants to give up. Sustain my faith when answers don't come when I expect them, strengthen my heart when my strength seems to fail, and teach me to remain steadfast even when the path seems confusing and uncertain. Take to the Lord this request that I now place in prayer, this urgent cry that springs from the depths of my soul and that only He can answer. Lord, look upon my concrete needs, upon what is urgent and real in my life at this moment. You know my bills, my worries about making ends meet, my struggles at work, my fears about the future, and my insecurities about the decisions I need to make. None of this is unknown to you. Therefore, I ask you to intervene powerfully, opening doors where there is no way out, creating paths where there is only blockage, and bringing solutions where I cannot see any. Visit also, Lord, the relationships that need healing, the words that have hurt, the distances that have been created, the bonds that have been broken by pride, pain, or silence. May your love restore what has been hurt, reconcile what has been separated, and return peace to hearts that are in conflict, beginning with my own heart, which is so often restless and burdened. Saint Charles Acutis, intercede for me so that I may not lose faith during this time of waiting. This helps me not to focus only on the size of the problem, but on the greatness of God. Teach me to recognize the small signs of your presence, even before the complete miracle manifests, and to give thanks in advance for what the Lord is already preparing, even if it is not yet visible to my eyes. Lord, take now every negative thought, every recurring fear, every anxiety that steals my peace, and replace it all with your trust, your serenity, and the certainty that you are in control of all things. May my mind be guarded by your peace, and may my heart find rest in you, even as I await the answer I so desperately need. Lord, I also surrender to you the dreams I've set aside because of frustrations, the projects interrupted by difficulties, and the promises that seem to have faded with time. Rekindle hope within me, strengthen my faith, and prepare my heart to receive what you are about to accomplish according to your perfect will, which is always greater and better than anything I can imagine or ask for. Lord, I place before you each day of waiting that has been burdensome, each sleepless night, each thought that insists on returning, bringing worry and fear. You know the weariness of my soul and how much I have tried to remain steadfast, even when everything seems fragile within me. Sustain me with your presence, strengthen me with your grace, and do not allow me to give up now, when I so desperately need your intervention. Saint Charles Acutis, take before God this cry that won't leave my heart, this need that throbs urgently within me. Intercede so that I may receive discernment, so that I may know how to wait when it is necessary to wait and act when it is time to act. Help me to trust in God's timing, even when it doesn't coincide with mine, and to keep my heart aligned with the divine will, even amidst anxiety. Lord, visit my home now, the place where I live, the place where I rest and where I often cry in silence. May your peace enter and remain, driving out all anguish, all oppression, and all spiritual weight that has settled in. May your Spirit bring lightness, hope, and renewal, transforming this space into a place of faith, trust, and protection. I also ask you, Lord, to take care of my emotional and spiritual health. Heal the invisible wounds, the marks left by disappointments, the pains that time has not been able to erase. Renew my inner strength, restore my joy, and give me back the ability to believe that better days can and will come, even when everything seems difficult now. Saint Charles Acutis, teach me to live this moment with living faith, to transform waiting into prayer and pain into surrender. May I not allow discouragement to distance me from God, but may each difficulty draw me even closer to your presence. Intercede so that I may remain firm, constant, and confident, even when the miracle has not yet manifested. Lord, I place before you every decision I need to make, every uncertain path, every choice that carries fear and responsibility. Guide my steps, illuminate my mind, and do not allow me to walk without your direction. May I recognize your voice amidst so many others and follow what comes from you, even if it requires courage and total surrender. I trust, Lord, that you are listening to this prayer, that nothing said here is lost, and that every word reaches your heart. Even if I don't yet see the change happening, even if the answer seems to take a long time, I choose to remain in prayer, to continue trusting and surrendering again, as many times as necessary. This urgent cause, this profound request, and this waiting that has marked my life, believing that your action is already underway and that, in due time, what is pain today will begin to transform into testimony. Lord, as I continue this prayer, I also place before you the times when I doubted, the moments when I felt weak in faith and thought of stopping praying. Receive even these weaknesses, because you know the human heart and know that we cannot always be strong. Sustain me when my strength fails, and comfort me when my words falter, for I know that you understand even what I cannot express. Saint Charles Acutis, present before God every detail of this supplication I make now. Take also the requests I haven't been able to formulate, the pains I can't explain, and the needs I haven't yet fully understood. Intercede so that God's will may be fulfilled in my life in a clear, just, and merciful way, bringing not only the solution I hope for, but the peace I need to get through this moment. Lord, touch my faith now, so that it may not be based only on what I see, but on the certainty of who you are. Strengthen me to trust, even when the situation doesn't change, to believe, even when circumstances seem to contradict the promises. May I learn to rest in you while I wait, knowing that no prayer offered sincerely is ignored. Lord, I surrender to you the fears that keep returning, the painful memories that haunt me, and the negative words I've heard that still echo within me. Free me from everything that paralyzes me and prevents me from moving forward. Renew my mind, purify my thoughts, and fill my heart with living hope, the kind that doesn't depend on circumstances, but on your faithfulness. Saint Carlo Acutis, help me to keep my eyes fixed on God and not just on the problems. Teach me to find strength in daily prayer, to seek refuge in the divine presence, and to recognize that even in delay, God remains good, just, and faithful. Intercede so that I may persevere, even when the path seems long and tiring. Lord, accept now this continuous surrender I make, this decision to remain, this choice to trust again. Even if the miracle has not yet manifested, even if the answer is still being prepared, I remain here, in prayer, placing once more before you this urgent need, this cry that springs from my soul, this request that I carry with such intensity in my heart, believing that you are acting in invisible ways, aligning everything according to your love and your infinite wisdom, preparing the right moment for your will to be revealed clearly, powerfully, and transformatively in my life, in my time, in my path, and in everything that I now place before you, remaining in faith, in surrender, and in continuous trust, without ceasing, without giving up, without letting go of your hand, continuing to wait, to believe, and to pray. Lord, I remain here in your presence because I know this moment of prayer is not in vain. Even when my heart feels heavy and my mind insists on worrying, I choose to remain. I choose to trust. I choose to continue speaking with you. You know every beat of my heart, and you know how much this waiting has demanded of me. Therefore, I ask you to envelop me with your peace, that peace which does not depend on immediate answers, but on the certainty that you are with me. Saint Carlo Acutis, walk with me during this time of waiting and strengthen my trust in God. Help me not to lose my spiritual sensitivity, not to harden my heart because of disappointments, and not to allow pain to distance me from faith. Intercede so that I may continue to believe that God acts in silence, that he works behind the scenes, and that he prepares solutions that go beyond what I can imagine now. Lord, look also upon the people who are part of my life, upon those who suffer with me, upon those who depend on my decisions, and upon those who, in some way, are connected to this situation that I present in prayer. May your action reach not only me, but all those involved, bringing balance, clarity, protection, and guidance to each one. Lord, I surrender to you the uncertainties that still haunt me, the unanswered questions, and the paths that seem confusing. Even without understanding everything, I place before you once again this urgent cause, this insistent request, and this need that throbs within me. May your will be done in due time, and in the meantime, may my heart be guarded by the faith and hope that come from you. Saint Carlo Acutis, teach me to live this day with renewed confidence, to transform every moment of anxiety into prayer, and every negative thought into surrender. This helps me to recognize God's presence in small things, in the details of daily life, and in the subtle signs that often go unnoticed, but reveal the Lord's constant care. Lord, I continue to place before you all that worries me now, without reservations, without fear, without masks. Receive this continuous prayer, this persistent cry, and this surrender that is renewed with each word, knowing that I am being heard, that I am not forgotten, and that even if the answer is not yet visible, your action is already in motion, sustaining me, guiding me, and preparing what is yet to be revealed, while I remain here in faith, in trust, and in continuous prayer, surrendering once again every thought, every feeling, every situation, and every hope that I carry in my heart, continuing to wait, to trust, and to remain before you. Lord, I continue to speak with you because I know that prayer keeps my heart connected to yours. Even when the silence seems long, even when the answer doesn't come in the way I imagine, I remain here, opening my soul before you. You know my limitations, you know where I falter, and you perceive when my faith wavers, but even so, you welcome me, sustain me, and invite me to continue trusting. Saint Charles Acutis, intercede so that I may not allow haste to steal my faith, nor despair to take the place of hope. Help me to understand that God is never late, that divine action happens at the perfect time, and that while I wait, something is also being transformed within me. Strengthen my spirit so that I may get through this period with perseverance and confidence. Lord, visit now the thoughts that weary me, the recurring worries, and the negative scenarios that insist on occupying my mind. Take each one of them and replace them with your truth, your promise, and the certainty that everything is under your control. May I not be dominated by the fear of tomorrow, but sustained by confidence in your daily care. I place before you once again this cause that accompanies me, this request that I present again with humility and faith. You know how important this is to me, and you know the consequences this situation brings to my life. Therefore, I continue to ask, I continue to surrender, and I continue to wait, certain that you do not ignore the cry of a trusting heart. Saint Charles Acutis, help me to keep the flame of faith alive even when circumstances remain unchanged. Intercede that I may remain steadfast in prayer, constant in surrender, and open to God's will. May I never tire of seeking, asking, and trusting, knowing that every prayer has value and every supplication is heard. Lord, receive once again this offering I make now, this silence that also speaks, this waiting that continues, this faith that insists on remaining. I continue here, placing before you every detail of my life, every uncertain step, every hope that still beats in my heart, continuing to trust, to surrender, and to remain in prayer, even without yet seeing the result. Even without understanding the whole path, remaining before you, waiting, believing, and trusting continually. Lord, I continue in this prayer because I feel I still need to remain in your presence. Even when my words begin to fail me, my heart continues to speak to you. You know what I have not yet been able to express. You know what is kept in the deepest part of my soul, and you understand this need that insists on remaining before me. Therefore, I do not turn away, I do not interrupt. I remain here, trusting that every moment in prayer has value before you. Saint Charles Acutis, intercede so that I may not lose my spiritual sensitivity during this time. May I not allow routine, weariness, or frustration to harden my heart. Help me to keep alive the flame of faith, the hope that insists on remaining even when everything seems to say otherwise. Sustain me so that I may continue to believe that God is acting even when I cannot yet see it. Lord, touch now that which is blocked, that which seems paralyzed for so long. You know where waiting has become burdensome and where hope has begun to weaken. Visit those areas of my life with your presence and allow, little by little, what today seems impossible to begin to align according to your will. May I perceive the signs of your action, even if they are subtle, even if they are small. I place before you once more my thoughts, my decisions, my uncertainties and my feelings, All that I am and all that I carry, I surrender once more, without reservation. Teach me to trust without demanding explanations, to wait without losing faith, and to persevere without giving up, even when the path seems long and difficult. Saint Carlo Acutis, accompany me in this process of continuous surrender. Intercede so that I may find strength where I feel weak, clarity where I feel confused, and peace where restlessness still exists. Help me to keep my eyes fixed on God and my heart open to His will, even when it is not immediately revealed. Lord, I remain here, placing before you this cause, this request, this waiting that is not yet over. I continue to trust that nothing presented in prayer is lost, that every word finds a welcome, and that every moment before you bears fruit in due time. I remain in prayer, in surrender, and in trust, bringing again all that worries me, all that I hope for, and all that I still need to place before you, remaining here without ceasing, without retreating, without interrupting this surrender that continues to live within me as I continue trusting, waiting, and remaining in your presence. Lord, even as time passes and the answer remains unanswered, I remain here because I know that standing before you is also an act of faith. I don't want to run from the waiting or turn away because of weariness. I want to remain, even in silence, even with a heavy heart, even with questions that still have no answer. You know the sincerity of this surrender, and you know that everything I do now stems from the confidence that you are with me. Saint Carlo Acutis, help me not to let anxiety govern my thoughts. Intercede so that I may learn to breathe deeply and rest in God, even when everything seems urgent. Teach me to trust that every second of waiting is also part of God's work, and that even when I don't realize it, something is being prepared in my favor. Lord, visit now the areas of my life where fear still tries to dominate. Where there is insecurity, bring firmness. Where there is doubt, bring clarity. Where there is restlessness, bring serenity. May my heart find rest in you even before the answer arrives, even before the situation changes, even while I continue to wait. I surrender to you once again every thought that insists on returning, every worry that tries to steal my peace, and every memory that weighs down my heart. Receive all of this with mercy and transform this burden into trust. Teach me to let go of control, to surrender what I cannot resolve, and to fully trust in your care. Saint Carlo Acutis, walk with me as this prayer continues. Intercede that I may remain faithful, steadfast, and confident. May I never tire of seeking God, of speaking with Him, and of trusting in His will, even when the path seems too long and the result still distant. Lord, I continue to present before you this need that I carry, this request that has not yet been fulfilled, this waiting that remains alive within me. I remain here, speaking to you, surrendering once again all that I am and all that I have, remaining in prayer, in trust, and in hope, without ceasing this cry, without interrupting this surrender, without giving up believing that you are acting now, even if my eyes cannot yet see, remaining before you, trusting, waiting, and continuing. Lord, I remain here because I know that your presence doesn't depend on immediate answers, but on a heart that perseveres. Even when the wait stretches on and weariness tries to convince me to stop, I continue talking to you, I continue surrendering, I continue trusting. You know the depth of this cry, and you know that it springs from the need of someone who has tried everything and now rests only in you. Saint Carlo Acutis, intercede so that I may not allow comparisons with other stories to weaken my faith. May I not look to the timing of others nor the paths of others, but trust in God's work in my own life. Help me to understand that each story has its time, that each answer has its moment, and that God does not forget any of His children. Lord, touch now the root of this situation that I present in prayer. Go beyond what is visible, reach what is hidden, what has not been said, what has not been dealt with. May your action not be merely superficial, but profound, bringing true transformation, inner liberation, and complete restoration, beginning within me and extending to everything this matter involves. I surrender once again my expectations, my plans, and even the way I imagine the answer should unfold. Help me to trust not only in the miracle, but also in the process. May I learn to rest in your will, even when it doesn't align with what I expected, knowing that everything that comes from you carries love, care, and purpose. Saint Carlo Acutis, sustain me so that I may continue to believe even when waiting becomes silent. Intercede so that I may not stray from prayer in difficult times, but that it may be precisely in those days that I draw closest to God. Help me to keep hope alive, even when my heart feels weary. Lord, I remain here, placing before you this persistent request, this need that still throbs strongly, this surrender that does not end. I continue speaking to you, trusting that every word is received, that every moment in prayer has value, and that, even without realizing it, I am being sustained by your presence, remaining in faith, in trust, and in continuous prayer, without concluding, without ending, simply remaining before you, waiting, trusting, and following. Lord, I remain here because I know that your presence sustains what my strength can no longer bear. Even when the day wears on and the answer doesn't come, I continue speaking to you. I continue opening my heart. I continue trusting that this time before you is not wasted. You know every detail of this waiting, and you know how much it has shaped my feelings, my reactions, and my faith. Saint Carlo Acutis, intercede so that I may not let discouragement take hold. Help me to lift my gaze when it insists on focusing only on difficulties. Teach me to trust in God's silent work, in that invisible work that happens while everything seems the same, but which prepares profound changes in due time. Lord, touch now that which still troubles me, the recurring thoughts, the worries that insist on returning even after being surrendered. Receive everything again, as many times as necessary, and transform this unease into trust. May I learn to let go, rest, and allow you to guide what I cannot control. I continue to present to you this request that remains alive, this need that still beats strongly within me. Even when I no longer know what to say, I remain here, because I know that you understand even what I cannot put into words. Teach me to trust in silence as well, to remain even when everything within me demands haste. Saint Carlo Acutis, accompany me on this path of continuous faith. Intercede so that I may not give up praying, trusting, and hoping. Help me to keep my heart open, even when the wait becomes long, and to remember that God never abandons those who trust in him. Lord, I continue surrendering, I continue trusting, I continue remaining. I place once again before you all that worries me now, all that I still need to resolve, all that I still do not understand. I remain here, in constant prayer, keeping this cry alive before you, sustained by faith, by hope, and by the certainty that you are present, accompanying every step, every thought, and every moment of this waiting that continues open before you. Lord, I remain here because I know that every moment before you strengthens something within me, even when I don't realize it. The wait may be long, but your presence sustains me. Even when my heart is restless and my mind grows weary, I choose to stay, because I know that it is here that I find refuge. It is here that my faith is renewed little by little. Saint Carlo Acutis, intercede so that I may not allow fear of the outcome to weaken my confidence. Help me to surrender not only the request, but also the outcome, trusting that God knows what is best for me, even when it is not yet clear. Teach me to rest in the certainty that nothing escapes divine care. Lord, touch now the places in my life where insecurity still exists, where I feel vulnerable, bring firmness, where I feel confused, bring light, where I feel tired, bring renewal. May your Spirit organize everything that seems disordered within me today, bringing balance, clarity, and peace. I keep placing before you this unresolved situation, this request that returns to my prayers every day. Even when I lack strength, I continue to trust that you are attentive to every detail. Receive this offering again, even if it comes repeatedly, even if it comes laden with anxiety, because I know that you receive everything with mercy. Saint Carlo Acutis, help me to keep my heart steadfast during this process. Intercede so that I do not lose my spiritual sensitivity or hope in difficult times. May I continue to seek God sincerely, even when the answer seems distant, and may my faith not depend on circumstances, but on trust in who God is. Lord, I remain here, keeping this cry alive before you, renewing this surrender with every word, every thought, and every moment. I continue in prayer, I continue waiting, I continue trusting, placing before you again all that worries me, all that I need, and all that I still await, remaining in your presence, sustained by faith, hope, and the confidence that you are acting now, even if I cannot yet see it, remaining, surrendering, and continuing. Lord, I remain in this prayer because I feel that there is still surrender happening within me. Even when my words begin to repeat themselves, my heart remains sincere before you. You know this request that doesn't leave my mind, this need that accompanies me at all times of the day. Therefore I continue to bring everything to you, without fear of insisting, without shame of returning, trusting that you welcome me each time I approach. Saint Carlo Acutis, intercede so that I may learn to trust even when nothing changes externally. Help me to realize that while I wait, something is being strengthened within me. May my faith become firmer, may my hope mature, and may my heart learn to rest in God even before the miracle manifests. Lord, touch now the thoughts that insist on weakening me and transform them into confidence. Where there is restlessness, bring serenity. Where there is fear, bring security. Where there is doubt, bring clarity. May I feel your presence enveloping me, sustaining me, and reminding me that I am not alone on this journey. I continue to place before you this cause that remains open, this request that has not yet found a visible answer. Even so, I continue to pray, I continue to surrender, and I continue to trust, because I know that you are faithful and that nothing escapes your care. Receive once again this plea that springs from the depths of my soul. Saint Carlo Acutis, walk with me while this prayer remains alive. Intercede so that I may not lose perseverance or trust. May I continue to seek God every day, even on days when my heart feels weary, maintaining this constant surrender and this faith that insists on remaining. Lord, I remain here in continuous prayer, placing before you once again all that I carry, all that I hope for, and all that I still need to surrender, remaining in your presence, trusting in your action, and keeping this cry open before you, without ceasing, without interruption, simply remaining, trusting, and continuing. Lord, I remain here because I know that you are always listening, and that nothing I bring before you is ignored. Even when my words become simple and repetitive, my heart remains open, trusting that you understand every intention, every sigh, and every thought that passes through my mind while I remain in prayer. Saint Carlo Acutis, intercede so that I may maintain perseverance even when waiting becomes tiring. Help me not to allow time to weaken my faith, but to mature it. May I continue to believe that God is present in every detail, even when I do not yet perceive external changes. Lord, reach now every area of my life where restlessness still exists. Where there is anxiety, pour out serenity. Where there is haste, teach me to wait. Where there is insecurity, establish trust. Where the fear of tomorrow insists on arising, plant in me the certainty that you are already in control of everything. May my heart learn to rest in you while I continue to wait. I place before you once again this request that remains alive, this cause that has not yet found a solution, this need that insists on returning to my thoughts. Even so, I continue surrendering, I continue trusting, and I continue persevering in prayer, certain that you know the perfect time for every answer. Saint Charles Acutis, walk with me on this journey of continuous faith. Intercede so that I may not tire of seeking God, of dialoguing with Him, and of fully trusting in His will. Help me to remain steadfast even when the answer seems distant, and to keep my heart open to divine action. Lord, I remain here, renewing this offering once more, bringing again all that worries me, all that I hope for, and all that I still need to place before you. I remain in prayer, in trust, and in waiting, keeping this cry alive before your presence, choosing to continue trusting, surrendering, and remaining with you while this prayer remains alive within me. Lord, I remain in this prayer because I know that being before you transforms even what is not yet resolved. Even when the answer does not manifest, your presence sustains me and keeps me standing. I continue here because I trust that each moment in prayer strengthens something invisible, deep and silent that is being prepared within and around me. Saint Charles Acutis, intercede so that I may not allow spiritual weariness to distance me from God. Help me to renew my faith each day, even when the wait seems long. Teach me to trust that the Lord acts in ways I cannot yet understand, but that everything is being guided with love, care, and purpose. Lord, touch now that which still troubles me, that which insists on returning to my mind, even after so many surrenders. Receive again each worry, each fear, and each doubt. Teach me to trust not only when everything is clear, but also when the path remains obscured, knowing that you guide every step. I continue to bring before you this need that still beats strongly in my heart. Even when I no longer know how to ask, I remain here because I know that you understand even what is not said. Teach me to remain in prayer even when words become few and silence speaks louder. Saint Charles Acutis, walk with me as this waiting continues. Intercede so that I may not give up on trusting, praying, and hoping. Help me to keep my heart open, sensitive, and steadfast, even when the answer has not yet arrived and time seems to pass without visible change. Lord, I remain here, renewing this surrender, keeping this cry alive before you, bringing again all that I am, all that I feel, and all that I hope for. I remain in constant prayer, in silent trust and in persevering faith, continuing in your presence, surrendering, trusting, and remaining. Lord, I now place in your hands everything that has been presented throughout this prayer. Every word, every silence, every tear, and every sigh are under your care. I trust that nothing has been lost, that everything has been received, and that your work is already underway, even if my eyes do not yet perceive it. Receive this final offering with love and mercy, knowing that my heart remains open before you. Saint Charles Acutis, I thank you for your constant intercession, for your closeness, and for the example of faith that teaches us to trust without reservation. Continue to carry this request before God, accompanying this urgent cause and sustaining my faith while I wait. May I know how to recognize God's action in His perfect timing and remain faithful until the answer is revealed. Lord, I now rest in your will, certain that all is under your care. I entrust to you this cause, this waiting, and this path, trusting that what is asked of me today will become a testimony in due time. May your peace guard my heart and mind, and may I continue confidently, sustained by faith, hope, and the certainty that I am never alone. Amen. If you've reached this point, understand that this didn't happen by chance. Nothing here is random. Every word of this prayer was placed there with a purpose, to reach exactly the place in your heart that needs the most care, and to open paths for miracles that can no longer wait. Something is happening now. A spiritual connection is being formed, and you are part of it. Therefore, I invite you to speak up. Write in the comments your prayer request, that which weighs most heavily on your soul today, that which you wish Saint Carlo Acutis to present before God in intercession for you. Do not write empty words. Write with faith, with truth, with an open heart, believing that every word is heard in this sacred moment of prayer and surrender. Don't carry this pain alone. Don't keep this desire only inside you. When you write, you surrender. And when you surrender, the prayer begins to move. Place before God what you need. Entrust this request to the path of faith, and allow the power of prayer to reach you in a profound, real, and transformative way. And if you know someone who needs an urgent miracle today, don't ignore this call. Share this video with that person. Perhaps this prayer is exactly the light they were seeking, the hope they needed to rediscover, the sign they needed to keep going. Faith grows when it is shared, and prayer multiplies when it is lived in unity. Write your request. Share it with love. Trust with all your heart. Saint Carlo Acutis is listening to you now, interceding for what matters most in your life at this very moment.